That is proper shredded beef pie. Oh yes, please. Look at that. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today, really cracking pies. We're making shredded beef pie. Ready roll pastry, you can either use short crust or you can use short crust, and you can use puff pastry. That's what I'm going to do. In here I have shin beef. Now we're going to do it the old school way. We're going to salt this up and pepper, and we're going to chuck some flour on. So we've got some salt and pepper going on there, look. It's always better to season your meat, not the flour. So you can pat all that in if you want, or you can just get some flour and pat it all in together. You know, the flour's going to go on the outside of there. Hands in, flour up your beef. Up, get back in here. Now, like I say, I'm using beef shin. I've got a couple of kilos of beef shin here. That's good sticky meat, wash hands. Now what we are doing as well today, we're using the Instant Pot. We're not cooking this for nearly 3 hours on a stove. That is just ridiculous in the modern world. You get the same texture and cook if you cook in there for 45 minutes, job done, then we can get on and make our pies. So it's up to you. If you don't have an Instant Pot, you're cooking on the stove. That's all there is to it. Meat, we're going to brown in a pan, chuck in the pot liner. I never saute in the Instant Pot. It's too hot, not controllable. So you want to be grabbing a pan that you're going to use on there. And you want to be putting some oil in your pan. Okay, now this is oil that we've been frying with. There's nothing wrong with this. Flame on. We're going to sear up the beef. A little bit of colour, a little bit of seasoning all the way around. And we're going to chuck it in the Instant Pot liner. Gravy today, I've already mixed it up. This is made up from Knorr gravy powder. So we've got a bit of heat going on in there with our meat. Nice little colouring up on there. Now as you can see, I've actually cut this up quite large. It's going to shrink down in the Instant Pot. So when you've got a little bit of colour on there, we're just going to dump that in the Instant Pot. In there, your meat. Let's get it cooking. Turn it over. In with your onion and garlic. In there. A pinch of thyme, about a teaspoon. Let it rehydrate with the onions. So we're just cooking the rawness out of the onions, and then we're going to chuck it in the Instant Pot with the beef. Nice and easy. That will do. Let's have that flame off. Instant Pot liner with our beef in. Let's get that onion in there. Okay, there we go. That's got all our meat in there and our onions in there with some watery gravy. Just make sure we get some fluid under the meat on the bottom. So before we put it in the Instant Pot, we're going to go in with about a tablespoon of Worcester sauce. Give it a little shufty round. That's going to give us a really nice flavour in there. Right, we're ready to go. Whack your lid on. Okay, we're going pressure cook. Oh, it's already set to 45 because I do this pretty regular actually. 45 minutes, let it do its thing. That's it. Okay, we're on the countdown now. You know, it's counting down. We're going to have 10 minutes natural release. But you know, there is absolutely no rush, worry about pressure releasing it manually after 10 minutes. None. You know, we're after shredded beef. So if you want to go do something and come back and it's 15 minutes, so be it. Manually pressure release, throw the switch, let it do its thing, we're done. Lid off, let the steam go away from you. Whoa, yes please. Look at that beautiful cooked meat. That is sensational. Right, all we're going to do is take that out of there, put that in there. Now we want all the gravy. We are going to thicken this gravy up in a pan. Some fabulous meat there. And this is, you know, taking really hard meat to cook. It can only be slow cooked or pressure cooked. And you've got the most fabulous beef filling. So here you are, look, a couple of forks, look at this. This is what we want. We want shredded beef. Look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Look, there's no work involved in this, look. Look at that. So we're just going to give this a shredding up in here with a couple of forks. Look at that. Superb. Okay, we're going to put that to one side and we're going to make the gravy. So we're going to make a nice little gravy going on there with that meat juices. First job, butter in there. So you want to be tasting your gravy in here to see what you've got. We want a little bit of Worcester sauce in there for me. Right, we got the butter going on in there, look. We're going in with a couple of tablespoons of flour. Nice and straightforward. Little one of those on there. Start just to cook off the rawness of that flour. Not too much of a high flame. Don't panic about it. As per usual. A little bit of Worcester sauce in there. And then tip some of your gravy in there. No point messing about, is there? Let's have it stirred up and thickened up, and then we'll give it a taste test, and we might have to season. So this one is a season to taste. You want to be tasting what's going on in there, because that is going to be the filling inside the pie. You've got to enjoy it. That is super, super meaty. Wow. Okay, we've got a nice gravy going on there, look. That is about how I want it. I don't want it to go any further. I'm going to turn that off. What we need to do is put a little bit of that in there with our meat, stir it all through so it's all moist. This goes to one side with a lid on, and that is our gravy. Now, if you make the pies and freeze them, freeze some gravy, and then you just put it in a pan and reheat, you've got gravy. There is an awful lot of goodness in there from when we cook that meat. Don't throw that away. That is delicious. Even with just bread, it's superb. Okay, it's a nice straightforward one, and we will need to moisten this meat up in here. So it's just a little bit of our gravy. Don't over moisten whatever you do, because you're going to end up with a runny filling in your pie. So just give that a little stir through, and we actually want it like that in our pie. Okay, so we're going to have to add a little bit more, obviously, because there's more meat. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Right, it's just a simple little job now, you know. You've got to decide what tubs or how big you want to make your pies. I want to make it in these little things. They'll do for now. So you're going to have to roll out your pastry to fit your tubs. So short crust pastry first, puff pastry on top. Take your ready rolled pastry, this is my ready rolled, and just roll it out. Come on. So we've got that going on, so I reckon roughly about that. So we're going to do that. We'll do that. And we will have an overhang that we're just going to cut off. So that'll do, look. Let's just start that off. So take that out of there. Take your tin, take your pastry, whack it in there. Just dump it in and leave a lip at the top if you can. Come all the way to the top of your tin. So just squash it in there best you can. Now because I'm using puff pastry as well, I don't want a big overhang, okay, because I'm going to sit the puff pastry to the edge of there. So that little bit there, look, we can whip off now and we can use that. So we're looking at something like that, nice and steady. So just do that with all your tins and roll out your pastry. Make sure your oven's on about 180, somewhere around about there. Now we are using a tray today, so I'm going to put all these on here now actually. In there, shredded beef. Pack it in. We're making these to eat. Make sure you get enough beef in. So you want to come in there like that and you want to squash it. Don't squash the life out of it, but compress it down. We want it in. But you want a little lip like that, look. We get a little lip on there because that's where we're going to sit the puff pastry. So it's a straightforward job then. Common sense, look. We want to roll some puff pastry to fit the top of that. So we're taking your ready rolled pastry. So we want 8. 1, 2. Gonna have to come here, look. That is all torn. It's probably when it's been frozen. Right, no worries. There we got our 8 tops. Just put that to one side. We'll do one first just to show you, and then we'll do the rest. So we have our beautiful filled pie. Now what you could do as well, if you don't think that's going to be moist enough, just put on a little teaspoon of your gravy and it will actually go in there. Now I've said that, I'll show you. Take a little bit of that gravy. That is going to soak in there. Egg around there. Not too much, just to sticky it up. That's our glue. So just loosen that up on there. Let that gravy go through that meat. Now it is a quite solid meat pie, this. Take your puff pastry top and shove it inside the pastry. In there. And just crimp it in with your finger. We're not going to do any more to it than that. It doesn't need to be squashed the life out of on this because it's puff pastry. It's going to puff up. So we are squashed in like that. You have to vent. So we want a couple of decent vent holes in there. And we are going to brush with egg. What I'll do is I'll do them all and then we'll brush with egg. Nice and steady egg wash over the top. We want a lovely golden crust on here, you know. And then these are going in the oven for about 30-35 minutes. There we go, just whack that in the oven 30-35 minutes. And if they burst open, well, so be it. just look at those. Look at those. They are fantastic. Let's just let them cool down about 6 or 7 minutes and we're going to serve one up. Look at those things. Oh, stuck up with goodness. In there. Get your knife in. Oh, yes, please. Come on. Look at that beautiful pie. Let's serve it up. Come on, you're ready for a real dinner. On there, proper chips. Take our pie. Oh, look at that. There you go. That is pie and chips already. You ready? That is proper shredded beef pie. Oh, yes, please. Look at that. That is absolutely sensational. Oh, here we go. Real chips. Oh, my word. We got a nice puff pastry top. We got a very flaky short crust sides, and we're in. Come on. Oh, look at that quality beef. Look at that. That is super. Oh, you know it's going to be good. You know it. Oh, my mouth's watering. Oh, come on. We're in. Let's get some beef. That is absolutely superb. That really is high quality. Have anybody tried eating over a load of pies? How awkward. Come on. Oh yes, please. Fantastic chips. They're all done in the air fryer. Oh man. That is real quality. In there, quality shredded beef, enough moisture in there. Look for a moist pie. Look at that. Perfect. And obviously we've got our gravy, but look how perfect that is in there. 2 types of pastry. That is a perfect pie. That is shredded beef pie made. If you like what we're doing, don't forget, tell your friends. It's so easy to make. Now, if you haven't got an Instant Pot like we talked about at the start, you have to cook the beef stovetop about 3.5 hours. I absolutely love homemade chips with skin on. Oh. If you do like what we're doing, a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. Catch you in the next video.